If you're struggling with developing agents to conduct your research at scale, this video is for you. I'm David with ViewIn Advisory. This is a secondary video to one that we made last week about how to create pitch decks at scale. So I'll show you exactly how we're setting up these AI agents to conduct the research that we really need. So let's take a look at one that is determining if a company will be eligible for the specific product or service. What we're doing here is we're setting up the model to be a Claygent Argon. This is from Claude. And the prompt that we're writing here is very specific about what we want the agent to be doing. So the first step here is to determine if this company is likely eligible for this specific service. In this case, it's a tax credit based on the type of work that they do. Number two, how many eligible employees this company has in order to be eligible for this type of tax credit. Then we're telling the agent to review the About Us page as well as the full website and LinkedIn for information regarding team size and composition. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We're directing the agent to do the following. If you are unable to find this information, leave the section blank. Do not estimate based on size alone. Why is that important? Because we have to give very specific information on how to actually act. And this is where understanding how your product or service really fits in to their to your specific niche is important. An AI agent is not going to tell you exactly how to go about finding this information. That's on you to determine actual flow, but to actually do the bulk of the work, you have to direct it very specifically. So what are we giving it here? A company name, a website, and a LinkedIn URL for the specific organization. And we are providing highly specific outputs that this AI agent needs to provide. And if you're not doing this already, you need to do this because you need to normalize and have consistent output from the AI agent. So what we can see here, response, that's a standard, but we've given it different fields. Eligibility, which is a true or false output. The reason why, which is a text output, and a likely number of staff that this company has, and that's outputting a number. Excellent. So if we take a look into one of the responses, what we see here is eligibility. In this case, it is true. The full response, the reasoning, okay, and the steps that have been taken. Great. So we know that this company is eligible. We'll skip the rest here. And let's take a look at the next agentic action that is going on here. We're looking at a company code selection. What that is, HS codes, is not so relevant for you right now, but it's more so about understanding how we're actually conducting this research and the flow that this agent is executing upon. The model that we're using here is OpenAI's GPT-4o. In this case, it's only doing content creation and manipulation of the data, as opposed to the previous agent, which is doing the web research with the Claygent function. So the prompt itself here is to select the appropriate code from this list for the company that I give you. Here's information of the company, we have the description, and we have the eligibility, which is the output from the previous response. And we have context that we're giving to the agent as a system prompt. And we've given it a full list of different HS codes. Not so important that you need to understand what these mean, but the core of the message here is that you need to input specific information that you want the agent to actually select from. So give it guidelines, give it guide rails so that you're not getting data that's not relevant to what you're trying to achieve. Okay? And same thing here. The output code is already from this list. So we give it the output in the field, which is code, as a text. Great. Let's take a look at the next one. What are we doing here? A company summary. Same thing. We don't need web research for this specific action because we already have the data that we needed extracted from the first agent that I showed you. Let's take a look at the prompt. Complete the sentence for a cold email with a concise and specific summary of what they do. Take a look at the name of the company, today, and just how to reach out. So what are we doing here? We are trying to write the first cold email. Okay, this is where the personalization starts to come into play. Take a look at this company, just how to reach out. You're most likely eligible for this type of tax credit under the technology code previously, particularly since you blank. And that insert here function is going to insert why they actually qualify for this code. And this is information about the company, the description of the organization, and again, their eligibility. Let's take a look at the provide context for task for the system prompt. Only provide the missing part of the sentence in your response and never include anything else. Where's the missing part? Is this insert here function. Great. So if we take a look at the output of 1, here's a very specific response. Blank are developing innovative lipid nanoparticle technologies for improved nucleic acid delivery to extrahepatic tissues. Do I know what that means exactly? No. I'm not an expert in the bioscience, biotech field, but what I do know is that this would be relevant for them. And here's the company response. Since you are developing innovative lipid nanoparticle technologies for improved nucleic acid delivery to extrahepatic tissues, you're most probably eligible for this tax credit, specifically under tech code, whatever, right? And the person that's going to be receiving the email is going to fully understand this, and it's going to resonate with them a lot better. Perfect. Next thing, let's take a look at what this agent is doing here. The model is Claygent, web research option, because we need to start connecting web research again. Find out in which Canadian province this company is located. We give it the name, we give it the website, we give it the LinkedIn URL. And these are all important because we need to make sure that the company that we're actually extracting data for is the right company. There could be many companies out there with the same name, similar name, so we can cross-reference it against this specific organization's domain and their LinkedIn URL. For the output format, we have a response and we have a province code. And this is very interesting. So for the province code, we are having this output to a column, which is a select field, because there's only so many provinces in Canada, and we want it to align with a specific province, and there not to be any conflicting outputs, such as, British Columbia. We want it to be BC, not the full name British Columbia, and so we need consistency there for our flow. And we can see that this is the output of the province. If I click into one of the options here, the province code is very specific. Great. Now what we're doing, estimating payroll. So how is this actually functioning? Again, this option here is a web research, the Claygent model for OpenAI, GPT-4o. Why is that important? We need to conduct specific research. We don't have the data yet. Let's start collecting the data. So this company has X number of inferred engineering staff, employees involved in technical engineering and scientific research development. So what's the response? From the previous company summary action, and are located in this province in Canada. Estimate how much the annual payroll for these people is in total, taking their location and specific line of work into account. Excellent. So let's give it the fields again. Total payroll in Canadian dollars, that's a number, and then the response, which is the text. If we click into it, now we have a specific number for the estimated payroll that this company is paying for the engineering staff, which is around $1.7 million, which we will be using this information in subsequent actions and inputting this into our pitch deck. Great. One more time. Another action. Project summary. This is content creation. We don't need web research going on here. because we have the data now. So generate an example thread project, 1-line summary for companies that are actively engaged, conducting, etc. from the previous action with roughly this number of inferred engineering staff. Your response is always in the format of, we've recently successfully filed a claim related to their specific project. You don't need to use this exact wording, but it must be 1 or 2 sentences and start with, we've recently successfully filed a claim. Be concise. The projects you output should be in a related field, but not the same thing as companies that blank. What's the context here? You write social proof lines for outbound emails for my thread grant consulting company, ViewIn Advisory. What are the fields we need? Just a response. So let's take a look at an output that we've developed here. We've recently successfully filed a claim for a pharmaceutical company developing novel polymer-based drug delivery systems for enhanced targeted therapy in oncology treatments. Why is that important? That's what this company does. So we are resonating with them. And it's important. We need to really be able to get into the mindset of the person who's receiving the email, of the person who's receiving the flow, and make sure that they fully understand that we get them, right? And that's going to elicit a higher chance for you to get a response from your outreach. Another agent that's going on here. Cleaning the company name. So here's an example of a flow that we've built here that will clean an organization's name so that we can use it in our outreach. Now, Clay has a built-in tool for this, but sometimes it doesn't do exactly what we need it to do. And when we're using this company name in our outreach, which is a really basic action that you should be using, we need to make it seem like we're actually doing this on our own, right? So here's a very specific prompt. I will give you a company name that needs to be cleaned. Oftentimes people add unnecessary information to company names that should be deleted. Pause the video here. I'm not going to read all of this, but you get the gist. And what the output is going to be is the response and very specifically a company name. Excellent. So these are all of the AI prompts that we're using in this automated pitch deck creation flow. So let's see. How many are we actually running here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. A total of 8 agents that are running, conducting the research that we need. And, hopefully I've showed you exactly how to get this done. These are some really good examples that you can implement yourself as well. Prompting is extremely important when building out these flows. These agentic workflows are a huge benefit to ourselves and our clients. And these are just some examples that I'm showing you now that you can start using right away. So please try these out. Feel free to reach out to me if you need any help. And, I know that you'll get it. Excellent.